And to call the meeting to order, if we can stand and say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We have no visitors wishing to speak. I did share with the board some written communication I received last week from Mr. Lowry, head of the ECASB, who just was sent us a letter saying how much he enjoyed our meeting. Have we had any committee meetings, board? Great, we can jump right into your report then.
Okay, great. Pleased to welcome Mrs. Flanagan and Mrs. Steger from Windermere, our principal and assistant principal, to provide us with an update on their strategic plan for this year. Welcome.
Okay. Hello, good evening. I am Julie Flanagan, the principal of Windermere, and this is Amy Steger, our new assistant principal, who is new to our team that we're thrilled to have join us. Tonight we're here to present for you an update on our school action plan. Our school action planning committee is made up of a diverse group of individuals, ranging from teachers, special education teachers, school psychologists, library media specialists, and reading specialists. This committee works hard every summer to look at end of survey results from teachers, all faculty, all stakeholders, as well as get input throughout the year and looking at our data. And they use this information to craft this year's current initiatives and goals. An important piece of that is to make sure that our initiatives and goals align with the district's initiatives and goals. And as you know, and you are aware of, we have three main priorities in our district: learning and achievement, student life, and Amherst Pride. So in today's presentation, we're going to share with you and highlight some goals under each priority. So our first one we'll start with is learning and achievement. Today we're going to focus on the work of our Literacy Advisory Committee and some new things we're doing with technology integration. Our Literacy Advisory Committee was created as to align our teaching practices and our common language in the area of literacy. This committee is representative of a teacher from every grade level, kindergarten through 5th grade, as well as our reading specialists. One of the things of this committee is not only to make sure we as teachers are cohesive and that we're aligned, but that we're also aligned with the district's ELA committee. We've also identified through this committee, we always want to make sure that we have a laser-like focus on instruction. Instruction is the heart of what we do, and we want to make sure we keep a close eye on that. We identified through discussions and needs that teachers in the primary level had a desire to deepen their understanding about guided reading. So from that, with the help of our assistant superintendent, Dr. Lynn Shanahan, she worked together with a group of teachers, and in these pictures is the 2nd grade team, and we focused on a new resource, which is the next step forward in guided reading. So together, during that training, they're able to be better prepared to deliver guided reading at the primary levels.
In the areas of tech integration, we're really building this year on a gradual release of co-taught units. In the past action plans, we've been building the capacity of our teachers by having them plan and implement tech integrated lessons with a tech mentor within the building. So this year we're really trying to move that responsibility more onto the classroom teachers to make it a more natural and more frequent occurrence within our classrooms. So one way we're doing that is making sure that we weave in understanding of our EEE framework, which is a district adopted framework that is a lens that teachers can use to really vet their technology use within the classroom. So we know our students are going home and using screens. We know they're using screens on the weekends. So we're so lucky to have one-to-one devices. We just want to make sure that teachers are really focusing on the learning first and the technology comes second. And then next we created this idea of a digital playground. And this came out of the survey that all of our faculty takes at the end of every school year, really reflecting on that year's school action plan and giving some ideas towards the next year. And last year they had a technology toolbox where teachers learned about what's out there in the world of technology that I could use for my classroom. And this year they really wanted time to dig deeper with one. So we came up with this idea of a digital playground where they get to play with one type of technology. So in collaboration with Chad Bozier, our school librarian, and Donna Freimeyer, our district tech integrator, we worked together to create this playground. Our first one took place in December at one of our faculty meetings, and our second one is planned for March. So you can see here the teachers working through the activities, even Mrs. Flanagan, Julie participated. So what it was we created 4 hyperdocs, which what you have here we handed out is an example of a hyperdoc. We printed it for you, but this was on the computer. So in our faculty Google Classroom, there were 4 for teachers to choose from. So they had a choice of which technology they really wanted to dig deeper with and have time to actually create a lesson that they could use in your classroom. So you can see it's direct instruction paired with design time. So really it's just a document with hyperlinks, and they could go through and watch videos, they could read articles, they could look at sample lesson plans, and then they had time to create. So this one is from Nearpod, which is like an interactive lesson approach. And they could look at different lesson plans and then actually make an account, sign up, play around with it, and create something that they could integrate. So it was direct instruction paired with that design time, and the teachers could work at their own pace. So you'll see they went back to their classroom to work, some stayed in the library because they were like, I might need some more support here. At the end of this playground activity, they shared in a Google Doc with their colleagues what they created and what they planned to use it for. And then they also gave us feedback on the experience because this was a new digital learning experience. And really the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Teachers were really excited about the work. They learned about a new technology. One teacher was like, I had no idea coding could be used so simply. Our school librarian created one of these just for special area teachers who often feel like, how does this relate to me? So that was one special area teacher learning about coding in a PE classroom, because really it's just sequencing. Teachers learned, or they loved the resources that were available and embedded in this hyperdoc that's now there for their reference in the future that they can go back to. They loved that it was differentiated, they had choices, they could work at their own pace, so our more tech-savvy teachers could kind of fly through those like tutorial videos, and any teacher that maybe was a little more nervous with tech could really take their time and dive deeper. And finally, this was intentionally planned with our team that created this to make the learning within the hyperdoc. So not only were teachers learning that content of the hyperdoc, being Nearpod or whatever they chose, they were learning what a hyperdoc was. So as they learn as students, they realized, oh, I can use hyperdocs in the classroom too. This is an engaging tool that can allow our students to work at their own pace. So they kind of learned both.
So next up is student life, and we've identified 3 ways in which we can help support student life. We're going to talk to you about character education, the development, the creation of our classroom care kits, and our new video segments, Windows on Windermere. So our character education, we are always working on ways to create productive members of society, essentially good people. And so character and developing good character is just as important as academics. And so ways in which that we've identified to further support that is we wanted to do more with student recognition and recognize those students that are showing good character. And we're doing that now through grade level celebrations. Each grade level, every month, because each month we focus on and celebrate, and there's 10 of them here, 10 months in the school year, so we focus on one a month. So every month we celebrate students in that month who are showing gratitude for that month, which was in November. And then they are nominated by their teachers and then recognized. This was taken from one of the grade level celebrations. So those students were recognized in front of their peers, and every time there's a visit from Wendy, you're always getting a hug and a high five from Wendy, as well as an administrator, and Mrs. Stager and I were both at this. Here is Mrs. Stager congratulating, giving them a high five as well. And then it's something for them to bring home to mom and dad to say, look how proud you can be and how well I'm showing good character. We're also working on what can we do differently with our school-wide assemblies and keep it at the forefront. So from these assemblies, our character education committee, which is made up of a group of diverse faculty in the building, think about what can we do with these assemblies. And in this picture right here was taken from one of our assemblies, and the theme of it was superheroes. Teachers nominated kids that were superheroes, which is showing good character. They're a super great representation of showing good character. And so you can see we had some student athletes come down and we celebrated these student heroes, and they're running with a cape, and Wendy was there and we were so proud of them. Social emotional learning is sort of a new buzzword in education. New York State has just come out with some learning standards to support that. And social emotional learning is an area that the group of teachers here at Windermere really wanted to support, and how could we help do that with students. So together we've identified that sometimes students, they just need to take a break. They need just a minute to collect themselves and then to regroup and rejoin the classroom. And you might have heard of sometimes in areas of education, in some of the classrooms, they have what's called a calming corner, or it's a safe spot. They can just go, utilize some resources, and then go back into the classroom. We want to share with you some examples of what we created. So this is an example of the care kit, and we've got two that you can pass around to showcase. The teachers got together and identified just 5 or 6 really simple tools. So for example, this was one that's in every care kit, and it's just a squeezy. So if a kiddo is really frustrated and just having a hard time and they need to simply take a minute, they can find the care kit in the room. Teachers have taught all of these tools to the kids, and they know to go into the toolkit and utilize whatever resource they need that can help them regulate their feelings. One is a pinwheel, which is for breathing. If they breathe into it, they watch it slow down. As you know, breathing helps you regulate. Another, which Mrs. Stager and I find quite addicting sometimes, right? You just sit on your desk and go, ooh, let's just watch it, right? And it works. We also have some other sensory type things that kids can use to take their mind off, whether they're feeling frustrated or sad, and they just need to take a minute to calm themselves. Each kit comes with a timer, which is set for 3 minutes. So it's not punitive. This is not meant to be punitive. This is something, a tier 1 support, meaning it's for all kids in all classrooms. So they would go to utilize it, set the timer, they've got 3 minutes, the teacher's still teaching. I know how to use these because my teacher has shown me, and I know that this is not punitive. I can use this, gather myself, collect myself, go back in and rejoin the learning. So we're really pleased. What we've done is we've taken this model and we've duplicated it 60 times over. So we have one in every single room, not just the classroom. Art, music, phys ed, specials, speech. I have one, Mrs. Steger has one. Mm-hmm. In fact, there was an incident just a couple weeks ago, a situation where a student was in my office, was just frustrated, and they had just said to me, Mrs. Flanagan, do you have a care kit I can use? And it was really great. So I said, I sure do, honey, here it is. And they knew exactly what to do with it because they have the exact same one in the classroom. So I was really able to, we had something to give them to support them.
Windows on Windermere has been part of our school action plan for a couple of years and seen a lot of different formats over that time. And when I first started working with the ENL team, which is our English as New Language teachers, we talked about this initiative, and they were hoping to create something that was sustainable and really embedded within our school culture. Because as we know, at Windermere, we are really unified in our diversity. So they came up with this idea of a monthly talk show that really highlights and celebrates the diversity that's in our classrooms and in our hallways. So this talk show happens once a month, and it really expands all of our students' global competency and is directly aligned with our culturally responsive teaching initiative here at Amherst. So we're going to show you a quick clip of what a typical talk show of Windows on Windermere would look like at our school.
Hi there, and welcome to another installment of Windows on Windermere, where we learn about some of the great things about Windermere students and their families. I'm your host, Javion, and today we're going to be talking about how people celebrate the New Year. Happy New Year, everyone! Let's learn some of our friends and the New Year traditions.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Brian.
Our family is from England and India.
We celebrate New Year's on December 31st and January 1st. We stay up till midnight.
We wear special hats to celebrate.
And we eat special foods like naan bread and other Indian foods.
It's so much fun. I'm Justin.
And I'm Bee.
Oh, we celebrate New Year's Eve too. We count down to the new year and watch the ball drop on TV.
We are Vietnam. We celebrate two New Year's.
Our Lunar New Year is called Tet. It's usually in February and we celebrate it for 7 days.
On Tet, we eat lots of Vietnam food.
Yeah, we eat sticky rice, pork with eggs, and watermelon.
Yum. We also get wet envelopes.
Another thing I love to do is to watch the dragon dance and set up fireworks.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
Thanks for sharing with us, everyone. I'll learning about how families and people celebrate the New Year's. Happy New Year's, everyone.
So our students are recognizing this, right? It's on our Monday morning announcements, our video announcements, and once a month they're saying, oh, there's a host with the coffee mug. It's Windows on Windermere. I'm going to learn something about my classmates. And they could say, oh, there's similarities. We both celebrate the New Year. But hey, what is that food that you eat again that's different than my tradition? And then the third priority, Amherst Pride, we'd like to highlight with you how we're really building and fostering internal relationships within our building, and also how we're growing on our external partnerships.
So internal relationships, how can we foster and enhance a positive school culture and a positive school climate, not just with our students, but with our faculty as well? So this year, there's a new structure going from 2 houses, a primary and an intermediate house. We are now 1 house. And a way to unify us and bring us together and build relationships internally, we've created a grade level liaison committee, which is almost like a team leader committee. Each grade level is represented by a teacher, and that goal of the committee is to think of how can we support a positive school culture and school climate, and to unify us now into 1 house. Some of the ideas that came out of that committee we wanted to share with you today. One is our Festival of Doors, which is something that we did around the holiday season. Each classroom with the students, they were able to decorate a door, and they worked together with the teacher to come up with whatever thing that they wanted to decorate their door around the holiday season. It brought a lot of joy to the classrooms. Kids and teachers really had a lot of fun with it. Many teachers were in the building and just loved walking through and getting into that holiday spirit. We're also, this year, we're starting first ever, our Windermere's Got Talent Teacher Edition, which is very similar to Smallwood does something similar called the Sing-Off that they do every year. This year, we're going to be showcasing our talents. It is next Thursday, 6 o'clock. We've got about 16 acts for faculty and staff who are going to be showcasing their talents. Mrs. Stager and myself are going to be the MC. We're working on our interim jokes in between. We're ready for it. And all of the proceeds for that is going to benefit our musical theater club. Lastly, one idea that came out is the buddy classroom idea. And teachers thought of this as a way of, sometimes the kindergarten teachers are over here and the fifth grade teachers are over here, and we really don't see each other, and it'd be nice if we could, how can we get to know one another faculty-wise and hear and learn about what we're doing, but also then for the kids too. So we made sure we paired up every single homeroom, kindergarten to fifth grade, first grade to fourth grade, whatever it might be, to make sure no one was left out. We sent that out. Every teacher knew that they have a buddy classroom. It's been quite successful. Not only has the teachers engaged in reading buddies, and this is a clip of a fifth grader in a kindergarten, they've developed sort of that reading buddy classroom, but they use their buddy classroom to say, oh, we need to do a presentation. We're gonna come to your classroom to present, and vice versa. Plus it's also participating and sort of helping the younger students with any projects that they might need. However, really the teachers want to work it, but they know that they have that buddy classroom. So lastly is our external partnerships. Windermere would not be where it is today without the support of our external partnerships. And we've worked really hard to foster 3 partnerships in particular that we want to highlight for you today. Buffalo State, University of Buffalo, and the Rotary Club. The partnership with Buffalo State College this year has evolved into their highest level of partnership, which is a professional development school. So what that entails is for 3 semesters, the fall, the spring, and the summer, pre-service teachers work in Windermere, fine-tuning their craft under the supervision of our teachers. And with that partnership, they host our summer learning camp, which is free for our families and our students, similar to like a summer school, for 3 weeks over the summer. They've also, as part of the resource too in their partnership, is they avail themselves to us to utilize their resources in terms of faculty and staff at the college who could come and offer their expertise and advice in terms of research or an area. If we might need someone to speak at a staff development, they have said we can utilize that free service as well. University of Buffalo, this is our second, I think our 3rd year partnering with the medical students who are just down the street from us. The medical campus is down the road, and we've partnered with UB to help their medical students come and work with some of our students in a mentoring type format, and it's been really successful. We're anticipating to start at the end of this month, beginning of next month. Lastly is the Rotary Club of Amherst, and we've developed such a great relationship with them. The Rotary Club, I'm just really pleased and proud of that over the past 2-3 years. Their funding support has really been incredible. They've provided support for us where they've completely purchased an entire new sound system, down to like wireless mics, wireless handheld mics, a new sound mixer, a cabinet, the whole thing. It's been really incredible. They've been working with us to do that. And that obviously was to support our musical theater club where we were renting a lot of that equipment, but it not only benefits that club, it benefits the entire school. Anyone can utilize that equipment, so it benefits for our concerts as well. They've also provided support for any school supplies that we might need, and they've been great. They've reached out to me several times and said, okay, Mrs. Flanagan, what do you need? And I'm like, okay, when's the next meeting? I'm coming with my wish list. So they've been just super. So we couldn't do it without their partnership and support.
And this fall, we were able to increase our social media presence by joining the Twitter world with the other schools in the district. And when we got this Twitter handle at Windermere Boulevard, we sent out a Google form to the teachers asking and soliciting for ideas for what hashtag we should use. And overwhelmingly, We Are Windermere was the winner. Kept coming up over and over again. And to me, that just shows the pride that all the faculty and staff really have in our incredible school. And we just want to show you a video of our beautiful students who are at the heart of everything that we do and really at the center of this entire school action plan.
are researchers. We are artists. We are creative. We are animated. We are a community. We are lovers. We are musicians. We are engineers.
That's great.
That was awesome.
Thank you, that concludes our presentation. If you have any questions.
For the care box, it's like initiated by students and teachers, that you need to go use the care box for students, or is it primarily for the students say, I really think I need to?
Yeah, it's the
Oh.
students are the ones that would either ask to use
Okay.
it, or teachers will offer it.
Okay. I knew how to use it.
Go use the
It's not
Sometimes.
These docs, the hyperdocs that you guys created, you had several of them, and they were all voluntary to use, right? Like the teachers could choose to access them, and do you know like what kind of response utilization rate you got with them?
Yeah, it was actually during a faculty meeting. So all teachers were there, and it was the activity for the faculty
okay.
meeting. So they
So
had a
everybody
choice
had
of what
to do
for,
it.
but everybody, yes, did one.
But they had that dedicated time,
Yes.
and
to
that was the
complete it,
positive
yeah.
feedback from it, that it was a dedicated time just to like play with it and figure it out. And that hyperdoc helped guide him through it.
And
So
you
it's
said
some,
some have been implemented the use of the hyperdocs, and then,
Mhm.
Right.
so what is Nearpod? Is that a?
Yeah, so Nearpod is an online platform that you can take a presentation and easily make it interactive. So instead of standing, like we just did, and, go through it with students, eventually you're going to lose their interest. So if with one-to-one devices, you could have each had a computer, seeing it on the screen, and then asking questions, completing polls, drawing pictures, taking pictures of your work and sharing it. It makes the presentation interactive and allows, there's so many different ways to use it, yes.
Good job.
thank
Great.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Well done.
Can't take it away?
Reports from the superintendent tonight.
Wow. We will need a motion for new business items.
I'll make a motion for new business items D1, A through E, 2, A through D, 3, A through G.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving new business items D1, A through E, 2, A through D, and 3, A through G, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 7-0. Ms. Casodi, do we have any follow-up action items?
No.
Perfect. Then we will need a motion to convene to executive session.
I'll make a motion to convene to executive session for matters pertaining to the employment of a particular person.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor of convening to executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for coming.